has taken over.
Let's go.
It's Ferrall.
Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money.
It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
SportsGrid app is phenomenal. You can get it on iOS or Android. It's free. You can follow your favorite hosts like Carver High. It's got the TV side, the radio side, in-game odds. It's got it all. The SportsGrid app. Get it today free on iOS or in the Play Store on Android. All right. We're streaming on X. Did you know that? In fact, we're streaming on X right now. And always. All week, all day, all month, all year at SportsGrid-Live on X. Check it out. You can get the Ferrall Coast to Coast and Ferrall on the Bench podcast Monday through Friday on Apple, iTunes, or wherever you download podcasts. Both shows are available every day of the work week. Also, let's look at the lineup for tonight on SportsGrid TV at 6. It's Front Office Sports Today at 6:30, GTD. Game Time Decisions with the Kevin Walsh. At 8, it's the original OG. In-game live with Scott Wetzel and our good friend Joe Madden in Calgary for Alberta. And then at 10, it's Sports Rage as Morency returns tonight on SportsGrid TV. And then on SportsGrid Radio at 8, it's The Institution, Carver and Lisi. All that tonight on SportsGrid TV and SportsGrid Radio. We go into the third hour, the coup de grace here on Coast to Coast. I'm Ferrall with Carver High. We're in New York City. Great to have you with us. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It certainly is. And let's now start the final hour with talking season.
Whoa.
In college football. Everyone's excited down in Atlanta this week. SEC Media Week. That's right, week. They need an entire week with all the teams that they have
A lot of important
down
people
there in the Southeast. A lot of important people. Let's hear from a couple of them to get us going here in talking season. We'll start with the commissioner, Greg Sankey, who you can make the argument is the most powerful guy in college football. Let's hear him on the state of college athletics right now.
Let me be clear, from my perspective, college athletics is not broken. College athletics is not broken. It is under stress. It is strained. And the answers we seek are tied into the complexities that have been referenced over time. I went back and read my remarks from this podium or others over the last few years and pretty consistently have identified the challenges ahead with some of the decisions that we may have to make. I don't think the answers come from courtrooms completely. They don't come from commentators or commentary. They don't come from those outside sudden experts with their newest idea. Those of us in higher education, embedded in college athletics, know the intricacies of what's in front of us.
Yeah, actually, Greg, there's a lot of people that are highly educated as well that have an opinion about it that matter as much as your opinion of it. Here's the real simple facts. College sports was ruined the day they started paying all these kids tons of money. Okay? You get paid tons of money to play professional sports. But now college sports is professional sports, and it's the wild, wild west. It's the haves and have-nots. The problem with college sports is the teams and schools with the most money are the ones doing all the winning. They're the only ones that are going to win national championships. There's not going to be any Cinderella stories winning anything in college sports ever again. When you're paying individuals $3, $5, $7 million to allegedly perform on a Saturday or on a weeknight playing college basketball, they don't pay any of the swimmers or golfers or tennis players jack. They play the game of just giving the money to the football and basketball players. They used to get a free ride, a college education, a scholarship. Then they complained they couldn't go out and get a pizza with their girlfriends. So they thought the best idea would be to pay them all a ton of money. And look what it's done to college athletics. It really has ruined it. Okay, so what they're going to do, they're going to expand the NCAA basketball tournament to so many teams, it'll make you sick to your stomach. The tournament will never end. The 3-week tournament will be a 7-week tournament. And then college football now, they're going to expand the playoff field from 12 to, 20, 30 teams. You know why? Because they got to get more of the teams with all the money to be in the tournament and get rid of all the teams that have no money. Greg, that's your problem. And thanks, Greg. I have a lot of education as well. I forgot how smart you were down there running the SEC. Higher education, my ass. I have higher education too, Romeo. So let's all talk about what you idiots have done to pay all these kids money that they don't deserve. I don't believe for 1 minute, and I never will, that they should have ever given money to any of these kids. They should have gotten an education. Here's the other problem, Greg. None of these kids now get an education at all because none of them go to effing class anymore. All they do is get paid millions of dollars to perform on the athletic fields. What is an education? It's meaningless to these kids. And then they go play pro sports and they make even more money. I mean, these people, what do you mean, you people? They're the ones that have ruined college sports. That guy right there, that genius right there giving you all your advice, he's part of the problem. He's in on it too. They'll do anything to make money, including giving kids tons of money that they don't deserve at all. They pay millions of dollars for hack-ass quarterbacks in the SEC that don't win shack. They don't win shack. Yesterday I heard that Sellers is going to do dramatic things and win a national championship at South Carolina for the Gamecocks. And we all know that's not effing happening. It never does. It never will. Boom. How's that for your higher education, Greg? Have a nice week down in Hot Town. Get a double espresso on me. Thanks so much that you're so much smarter than I am, including my effing ass. You're smarter than me. Thanks so much. Mic drop. Hey, Mafia, get the tequila and my pills out.
Greg also said that 12-team college football playoff format could end up staying if the SEC and the Big Ten can't agree to a new format. It's funny, he only mentions the SEC and the Big Ten. You want to know why? Because nobody else matters. You know, it's not like he said we all can agree on a new format. It's us and the Big Ten agreeing on a new format because they have sliced everybody else basically out of the pie when it comes to the future of the college football playoff. If they have their way, they'll have all the spots. And all he also did was complain about we can't go to 9 conference games because, you know, look what they did to us last year. You know, they didn't put Alabama in and, you know, we got penalized. You know, these teams had more wins. They play easier schedules. We're the SEC. You know, we play tough games.
Except for that one game they all play every year against Hamtramck Tech, you know, right at the end of the season when they take their week off with their candy ass.
Do that.
Listen, they all play sugar non-conference schedules. I mean, sugar like cotton candy. I don't want to hear it. I won't deny that the SEC and the Big Ten, Big 12, all these power conferences play incredible conference football games. I won't deny that. But I could argue about their non-conference schedules and their candy-ass late November week off that they take every year when they play the Little Sisters of the Poor. Just stop. Here's another news flash for you, Greg. How's it going the last couple of years as the Big Ten wins the football crown? How's that going for you?
Every year, it seems like at this point. Just about every year. All right, we'll hear from some of our coaches when we come back, including one of our favorites. Why not? Brian Kelly of LSU as he gets ready for another season at the helm of the Tigers.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
they're still trying to throw Dalton Knecht's name in trades, and I don't even know if he's viewed as a positive asset still.
And that's a crazy thing. Dalton Knecht, if you look at FanDuel, Dalton Knecht 20-plus points at plus 120. He's giving you no indication that he's that right there. I mean, Kevin, I would be more likely if we knew we were going to get the minutes. Bronny James, 10-plus points at plus 118.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
I mean, Houston beat the snot out of the Dodgers, 18-1. And this is what happens here. Oral Hershiser doing the game for the Dodgers brings up the cheating scandal, going, oh, they must know the science because they're hitting curveballs that they know it's coming. It's like, oh boy, does he really want to go down that rabbit hole again here? I think this is one of those nights where they got destroyed. Yeah, hey, it happens in baseball here. But just found that an interesting comment by Oral Hershiser. Start bringing up the cheating scandal again.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
You have a head coach in Jim Harbaugh that's proven he will cheat to win. He will win at the biggest stage and doesn't give a damn who cares or finds out, and he'll just move on. That's what I love about a coach. That's the type of coach that I want. Win at all costs. Now, also, at all costs means, like, how are we building this team? Because I actually thought Harbaugh would come in and say, okay, let me just see what the players on the roster is. We'll weed them out after a year, but there's a lot of talent. He built that foundation last year and still made the playoffs.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Of an interesting couple of weeks in California. If you recall, just I think it was 2 weeks ago, language was inserted into a bill that would outlaw or ban sweepstakes casinos and sports betting, which of course we've seen lots of that happen this year. So California is an interesting market because, as you've said, there is no legal online casino. There is no legal online sports betting.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I know we're going to get more of these SEC guys in. I just have to say it. I know Carver High gets upset with me when I go on tangents. But honestly, I played with this kid last night that plays at Princeton, sophomore, great player. Kid is incredible, basketball player. And I said to him, man, that's just fantastic. You get an Ivy League education, you're going to Princeton? I mean, you can't beat that. I think of a kid Fitzgerald that's going to Notre Dame. I remember a time when I used to think, man, you got a full ride to Notre Dame. You talk about Gucci. You go to Duke, you get a full ride to go get an education at Duke. That meant something. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when I was at Indiana, Bob Knight, every single 100% in 30 years graduated. Not one kid didn't graduate with a degree that played for Bob Knight. People talk about how much of a horrible person he was. Every kid got an education and amounted to something in life. Nowadays, they pay kids millions and they don't even win. They pay them millions and they don't win. They get paid millions to just get paid millions. I think it would have been a better idea to give them a stipend every month to live on. They used to cry about not being able to go out on a date and have a slice of pizza. And instead of just giving them $1,000 a month or whatever, every kid on every sport got $1,000. And they could have managed that, the NCAA. I believe that fully. What they've done is they've let it run wild. They're running wild, like your boy in WWE wrestling. They're running wild. They pay this guy $3 million, this guy $4 million, this guy $7 million. And look, that kid at BYU, I will bet my life they never win a title when he's there. Giving him $7 million, my ass. Okay? They should have just given them all, every athlete, golf, tennis, everything, wrestling, give them all $1,000 or $2,000 a month to live on and to function, do their laundry, go out on a date, have a beer, instead of paying them millions, the haves and have-nots. They have single-handedly destroyed college sports with this, I don't even know what you call it, what a debauchery it is of how they pay some of them tons of money and others nothing. It's ridiculous. It's so twisted and demented. It's so dumb. And they talk about how smart they all are. You heard the guy bragging about his higher education, Swanky. Are you kidding me? It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And people can argue with me until they're blue in the face, and I'm almost blue right now. I will never back down on this. It's the worst thing that ever happened to college sports is giving them all this money. It's one thing to give them money. It's another thing to give them exorbitant amounts of money for nothing. Like, they're paying this kid at Miami back. They might as well have hired Beck the musician than this kid with his bad elbow and give him millions. I mean, Mike, honestly, does this not bother you at any level? Didn't you think going to Notre Dame meant something? Now the kids that go to Notre Dame, they don't go to class. They just get paid millions to be in South Bend and win football games. It's absolute bullshit.
You are first of all, I never liked Beck, the musician, so I wouldn't pay for Beck to come. And number two, we've come a long way. You keep bringing up the education at Notre Dame. Like, do you remember, like, just think back to that scene in Rudy, right? You know, which, by the way, I know Rudy's got a lot of things that are stretched for television land. No, I understand that.
No,
but there's one thing that doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
And that's the part where he's quitting the team, right? And he's grabbing all his stuff, and he's about to, like, leave because they're not going to put him in the game. And the groundskeeper, the guy that took him in and gave him the key to the room, it's like, you're getting a full education you're getting an education at the University of Notre Dame, and that should mean more than anything else. And then finally, Rudy was like, "Yeah, you know, you're kind of right. Like, I'm going to school at Notre Dame. I was in the in the factory back at home in the steel mill a couple years ago, and I'm getting an education at Notre Dame. We're a long way from that now. It is now. You've said it. We've said it in the past. You say it all the time. It is now professional sports. That's what it is. It's professional sports.
Right.
And they haven't even found sports. They haven't even found the proper guardrails of it yet. Because at least in professional sports, when a guy signs a contract with a team for 3 years, he's with the team for 3 years, unless they trade him. This is like, you know, it's just every 6 months you could go to another school.
It's right. There should be a salary cap. And enough already of this nonsense. Here's how much money you're allowed to spend and make your roster and make it even for everybody. Because right now it's so uneven. It's not even funny. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely twisted and bent and out of contortion. There's no rules. It's absurdity at the highest level.
It certainly is. Let's hear from a few guys while we have some time, and then we'll get to the Summer League and other stuff. Here's Brian Kelly, of course, entering his 4th season as the head coach at LSU. Here, he has Garrett Nussmeier coming back for his 2nd season. I showed you the Heisman odds a week or two ago, and they had Garrett Nussmeier as the second favorite behind Manning. So Brian Kelly's very excited to have Garrett back at school.
I can't underestimate how important the development was, and I think you all saw it. Jaden Daniels' development for year 1 to year 2 was astronomical, if that word even suits it. I mean, it was incredible. Garrett Nussmeier will have a similar jump. It's because you go on the road and it's sold out. You play teams that are so well coached and so balanced and have great players that you have no choice but to learn, develop, and get better, or you're going to be left by the side. And so that's why I'm so confident that experience in this league at the quarterback position is the most important thing.
I wouldn't argue with that at all. I also, I got to be honest with you. I thought that kid was real average. So if he's going to have this, and he just compared him to Daniels. So that's
what I don't agree with.
So
that's the one thing he said that I won't go with.
That kid is no Jaden Daniels, okay? You know what? And he's white, okay? So he is no athlete, in my opinion. You can quote me on that. Like, he is a clumsy white dude, and he sucked. Like, I'm being nice now. Now all of a sudden you're talking about him being great? Oh, slow down there, coach.
He's right about all the qualities you need in the SEC at the quarterback position. Saying that he's going to take the kind of jump in year 2 in the system that Jaden, he's not Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels just took a team to the NFC title game in the NFL. That's not far removed from being at LSU.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Don't get me wrong, Carver High. You know I love college football and college basketball without a doubt. And now, when I watch it, I bet on it, whatever. I just have to pretend like they're not all making exorbitant amounts of money. Like it doesn't affect, in my view. Obviously, there's the haves and have-nots, and you have big-time programs that have all the money, and they're expected when you get that much money to win, and that's all there is to it. I think Miami last year bought their team. There's no doubt about it, the Canes, and then they still screwed it up, right? So they paid all this money, and they still screwed it up. They didn't get in the playoff, did they? So all I know is when I watch it now and bet on it now, I just completely ignore the fact that they've ruined college sports with the money. So I just bet on it like, oh, look, Miami's playing Notre Dame week 1, Sunday before Labor Day. It's going to be a great game. What's the spread? Let's bet on it. I don't think about the money. I already know with certainty they've ruined college athletics with the money. I mean, they have created such a mess for themselves. They can't even talk their way out of it. Listening to that guy today, I'm sorry. I lost a lot of respect for him today listening to his nonsense. Like trying to act like you're smarter than everybody. Listening to you try to be the smartest guy in the room was embarrassing. It really was. You know what you sounded like to me? A football coach. That's all you are, is a football coach. Let's calm down about how smart you are. Let's just talk about you trying to sell me some bullshack about the SEC and whatever else. I'm telling you, I still love watching college sports. I just don't respect what they've done to it at all, and I never will. And no one will ever change my opinion of it either.
We'll finish with Coach Kelly here. Of course, I was telling you before, this is his 4th year. Going into his 4th year. He's 0-3 in week 1. All high-profile games. The openers for LSU, he has not won one. They lost 2 games to Florida State. And then last year, he lost that opener against USC in Vegas. So what has he got in store this year? Clemson on the road at Death Valley. Week number 1, LSU and Clemson, a Saturday night game in the opening weekend. Let's just say Kelly has had this game circled.
But we've also been 0-3 in openers at LSU under my watch. And we needed to do some things differently this year. And that is embrace this opener. And embracing it in a manner that This is a big game, and it's a tangible goal for our football team to want to be 1-0. It's not let's warm it up into the season. We want to be ready for this football game. And so we're doing everything in our power to give our players the opportunity for that success.
You know, the problem is that they're playing Klubnik and they're playing in Death Valley and they're playing at night on national television. And I don't care who they got or how much money they got. That's just a brutal road game. And you're going up against Dabo, who's every bit the coach you are. So let's face it. Do you realize it's 6 SEC titles, 3 Big Ten titles, 2 in a row by the Big Ten. And the only other 2 times that it's happened in college football, Clemson won both titles. So you're talking about a guy that wins championships, that you're going into his den of iniquity at Death Valley at Clemson, South Carolina at night against a quarterback. Klubnik's every bit better than Nussmeier, or whatever his name is. This hack at LSU that he just said was the greatest quarterback that ever lived. He just said he was as good as Jaden Daniels is what I heard. And so I'm telling you, I won't be surprised at all they lose again. And you know what's amazing to me? This guy keeps losing down there and nothing ever happens to him. He just keeps losing.
I think he's plastered 1-0 all over the locker rooms, the weight rooms. He's really digging into this, starting the season with a win. Clemson is 3-point. Clemson's 3-point favorites for that opening night game, that Saturday night game.
I'm not surprised. That's just a brutal place to play. They come running down that hill, they hit that rock, and they're half crazy. Like, have fun with that.
Yeah, certainly do. All
it's
right,
every bit as bad as their Death Valley in Baton Rouge. You play under the lights there on a Saturday night, you lose. You play at Death Valley in Clemson under the lights on national TV, you lose.
Here's the LSU numbers for the season, by the way. I'm trying to do this with some of the teams that we talk about. Their win total is 8.5, 17-1 to win the title, 7-1 to win the SEC, plus 134 to make the college football playoff. The Brian Kelly LSU numbers for this year.
I mean, can you imagine that their number is 8.5? That's like just spitting on it.
They have
a
tough schedule. Their schedule's real tough. Aside from that Clemson game, they got some heavy hitters throughout that thing.
What a shame. His run in Salt Lake is over, but you know, obviously the intimidation of a guy that's been around that long in Gundy and in this guy, if you look at their cases, they're very similar. It's been going on forever, right? And it's time for a change, I think, in Stillwater and in Salt Lake. I got to be honest with you. And believe me, if they lose again, they're going to get rid of him.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
One that really sticks out to me the most, George, and he's having a fantastic season, is James Wood of the Washington Nationals. I mean, yes, Cal Raleigh's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. He's like a candidate for MVP of the American League. But every time I look up, George, James Wood is either getting 5 hits or being walked 4 times in a game. What a season for this guy.
And he's so young. What, is he 22? So what a future this kid has ahead of him.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
You have a head coach in Jim Harbaugh that's proven he will cheat to win. He will win at the biggest stage and doesn't give a damn who cares or finds out, and he'll just move on. That's what I love about a coach. That's the type of coach that I want. Win at all costs. Now, also, at all costs means, like, how are we building this team? Because I actually thought Harbaugh would come in and say, okay, let me just see what the players on the roster is. We'll weed them out after a year, but there's a lot of talent. He built that foundation last year and still made the playoffs.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Online casino expansion in the U.S. is extremely slow, a lot slower than I think we all would have thought, 5 years ago as sports betting took off. But you're going to start to see, I think, next year, a few more states kind of trickle into this. On top of Maine, you had Illinois kind of talk about it. Governor J.B. Pritzker pitched it as an idea to help cut down the budget deficit. Of course, we've got a weird tax fallout there.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
we have our intern Lauren she's a standout soccer star at High Point in North Carolina working with us today, Carver High. And she is also opposed to the soccer team that she plays on not being paid the millions that the other schools and programs are paying athletes. She believes that the soccer team at High Point should all be cleaning $1.5 million per player. And I agree with her wholeheartedly.
Everybody should get their dollars at some point. That's just the way that it should go.
Piece of the pie.
Now, look, we've been very busy today. I'm not going to get to all the college football with you tomorrow, but I'm promising you today. Tomorrow, I might dedicate, because there's no baseball tomorrow. There's really not a lot of anything. I might do a whole hour plus of the college football tomorrow because I'm going to save Lane Kiffin. I'm going to save Shane Beamer. And I know that Kirby talked today, Sarkisian talked today, so I'm going to have the guys from today and these. We'll do a big blowout tomorrow for SEC Media Week, college football on Coast to Coast. So we will. That's fantastic. We'll have a lot to do with that tomorrow. Because look how much time we spent with LSU just dragging them around, and we still have everybody else.
And listen to this. One other thing that I heard today that they could lose 3 games and make the playoff because their schedule's so brutal. I disagree. If you lose 3 games in college football out of 12, you do not deserve to be in that playoff. And the playoff is still, let's face facts, it's still 12 teams. Now they're going to make it 16 before you know it. So when it's 12, can we just keep it to 2 losses maximum? Wouldn't that? Can you imagine teams with 3 losses getting into it? Like, honestly.
They've got I was telling you, Rick, they've got a tough schedule, LSU. And that's why that 8.5 was thrown up there. Opening with the Clemson non-conference. It is. They play Florida at home. They're at Ole Miss. They're at Bama. They get South Carolina and Texas A&M in their place. They go to Oklahoma. It's a difficult schedule, but that's the SEC. That's kind of the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. That's for sure. All right, we'll do a lot of.
He asked for when he went to Baton Rouge. He could have won a national championship at Notre Dame, and let's face it, your boy's been playing for him in South Bend since.
Yeah,
Freeman. Okay, so I don't want to hear it. He left and went. He chose that path. He thought he could go conquer the SEC, and he has learned the hard way that he hasn't done anything of the sort.
He has learned that. All right. Well, so we'll do more tomorrow. Let's rip through the summer league because we got 6 games tonight. I want to give you the numbers. Stuff from last night. Hawks beat the Rockets in overtime. Kobe Buffkin with 25, 6, and 3 and 2 steals. Buffkin, your boy Kobe B. The Bulls beat the Pacers 114-105. Buzelis had 28 points and 5 boards for the Bulls. Now, I'm sure you saw the Furpy dunk for the Pacers. Did you see the? Let's play it. ESPN.
Well, I'm not sniffing that Hall of Fame anytime soon. But speaking of Syracuse alumni, Jim, I need Buddy to be healthy. Oh my goodness!
Cocked it way back. My goodness, that was in the top 10 out here, maybe all time.
He literally brought it from his arse on the backside all the way windmill tomahawk in that kid's face. The pictures after the fact of the poster with the kid with his mouth wide open were really epic. It was a great dunk. There's no getting around it. He never did that at Kansas, but he did it in the Summer League in Vegas. That was the dunk of the Summer League so far, without a doubt.
And it might win it by the time it's all said and done by next week. Hornets beat the Mavs by almost 20. Kneppel had 16, 10, and 4 dimes. He's played well for the Hornets so far at the Summer League. The Heat beat the Celtics. Khalil Ware, 21 points, 15 boards, and 2 dimes for the Heat. That's a nice effort. Spurs beat the Jazz 93-91. Some huge performances in this game. Filipowski had 35 points, 11 boards. He hit 5 threes. How about this David Jones-Garcia, who's been scoring basically 20-plus points a night? But the ending to this game was absolutely crazy. The Jazz thought they had won it on a Filipowski dunk, but the Spurs said not so fast. ESPN.
5 seconds left. Collier nowhere to go. Filipowski driving. With the soul. Filipowski say it with your chest. In overtime. Minix on the baseline to fade away. Oh, wow. For the win. Minix. The crowd goes wild.
It was Minix, not our friend Chris Mannix. It was
No.
Minix with the shot to win it, the least likely guy. The white boy in the corner with a perfect splash to win it. I watched the game. It was great. I thought Filipowski was unbelievable. And not only that, I thought his dunk with guys in his face was hammer time excellent. He went straight to the cup and just absolutely brought it down in some dude's face and skull for that stuff. And then he walked around and let everybody know it. He was like, this is what I do. This is my house. I own this place tonight. And then they lost. It sucked.
He's got a little showboaty, little attitude to him, Filipowski. He's got a little,
I like that.
He's got a little bit of that in him.
This is what I've been talking about. So yesterday I said this on the show. I'm going to say it again today. I am seeing great performances from bigs, guys that are 7 foot that are playing their ass off, and he's another one that's been fantastic, as well as the Big Tariff and others. There are we talk about Kalkbrenner. All these bigs, these 7-footers have been playing their guts out in this summer league. They look fantastic. The league's getting bigger, and I like when bigs do what they do. I thought Filipowski last night, I couldn't believe my eyes. He was jacking 5 threes, and he had that dunk to tie it. It was unbelievable. I thought he was spectacular last night. I think he's second year, Filipowski.
Yeah. Yes, he's going into his second year. He got some burn this past season with Utah here and there. Kings beat the Suns by 20, and the Clippers beat the Lakers 67-58. Jordan Miller had 19, 7, and 2 dimes. Bronny had 17, 5, and 5 for the Lakers last night.
He hit that first 3 coming out of the gates, and I thought he looked pretty good. No doubt about it. But like I said last night on the show, Clippers are better, and they beat them.
6 games tonight. Of course, we already talked about the Pistons earlier. They're actually down 39-33. Timberwolves lead the Pistons in the third quarter, that first game of the day at the Summer League. Here's the rest of them, Scotty. Knicks and Nets will get going at the top of the hour. Brooklyn minus 3.5. I've got this at now. Thunder and Magic at 6:30. OKC now up to 4.5. Raptors and Nuggets just after 8 o'clock as well. I got the Raptors now minus 6.5.
I like the Nets, the Thunder, and then that I like the
Raptors.
8.5 over the Nuggets.
8.5 Raptors. 8.5.
Oh, now that's a gigantic number. I don't think they'll cover that number. I like the Raptors money line, but I don't like them to cover that big piece. These games are always pretty relatively close in the Summer League. I think you typically have 2 games at night that get out of hand, and then about 5 that don't.
As far as the real late night ones, Philly and Washington just after 8:30, minus 1.5 for the Sixers. The Blazers with the tariff against the Pelicans. That's just after 10 East, minus 3.5 for the Pels. And late night after 10:30, Warriors and Grizzlies. Grizzlies minus 5.5 now.
I like Sar and the Wizards. I like Big Tariff and the Blazers, big time. And then Golden State and Memphis. Too many points. I'll take the Dubs and the 5-piece with some tangy barbecue sauce.
So there you go. Summer League for tonight. Everybody's very excited out in Vegas. Lots of big performances. That's for sure. All right, we'll come back. I got a couple other NBA things, and then let's hear from some guys over across the pond, Royal Portrush, as we get ready for the Open Championship.
Thursday. His run in Salt Lake is over, but obviously the intimidation of a guy that's been around that long in Gundy and in this guy, if you look at their cases, they're very similar. It's been going on forever, right? And it's time for a change, I think, in Stillwater and in Salt Lake. I got to be honest with you. And believe me, if they lose again, they're going to get rid of him.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
One that really sticks out to me the most, George, and he's having a fantastic season, is James Wood of the Washington Nationals. I mean, yes, Cal Raleigh's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. He's like a candidate for MVP of the American League. But every time I look up, George, James Wood is either getting 5 hits or being walked 4 times in a game. What a season for this guy.
And he's so young. What, is he 22? So what a future this kid has ahead of him.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Dude, you have a head coach in Jim Harbaugh that's proven he will cheat to win. He will win at the biggest stage and doesn't give a damn who cares or finds out, and he'll just move on. That's what I love about a coach. That's the type of coach that I want. Win at all costs. Now, also, at all costs means, like, how are we building this team? Because I actually thought Harbaugh would come in and say, okay, let me just see what the players on the roster is. We'll weed them out after a year, but there's a lot of talent. He built that foundation last year and still made the playoffs.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Online casino expansion in the U.S. is extremely slow, a lot slower than I think we all would have thought, 5 years ago as sports betting took off. But you're going to start to see, I think, next year, a few more states kind of trickle into this. On top of Maine, you had Illinois kind of talk about it. Governor J.B. Pritzker pitched it as an idea to help cut down the budget deficit. Of course, we've got a weird tax fallout there.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, you've got news about your boy Wemby.
Yeah, Wemby's been fully cleared to play after missing, of course, the end of this past season with the deep vein thrombosis in the shoulder. Wemby back in the mix. He'll be good to go for training camp, etc. You talked to Jody Mack about Paul George. He suffered a knee injury in off-season training, which required surgery. He'll be reevaluated before training camp. He never plays. Is what it comes down to. He just doesn't play anymore. It's just pointless with Paul George.
Or you can look at it like he never plays, and when he does, he doesn't win.
That too. That's another way to look at it. That's for sure. Man, the Sixers gave him a lot of money
He's like
for
the
nothing.
Beard. A ton of money for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, at least he plays. I mean, this guy just doesn't. He don't even play.
I think the
Paul
Beard's
George.
incredible, and he's amazing, and he doesn't win either.
He does not. He does not win at all. There you go. A couple NBA things. All right.
Have you ever seen anyone lose like that guy loses in the playoffs? Honestly, that hard.
No,
Have you ever seen
they're
anyone
up there.
that bad?
Yeah, no, he's up there.
He's an all-timer.
That's for sure. He's got a lot of playoff losses. He's been playing a long time. He got a lot of losses. All right, the 153rd Open Championship will be in Northern Ireland, teeing off Thursday morning at Royal Portrush. Let's hear from a few guys. Now, of course, Rory McIlroy is from Northern Ireland. He was very gassed up in 2019 when they went there for it, and he missed the cut as he got out of the gates very poorly. He's had quite the year. He completed the career Grand Slam with the Masters and really has not played well since, aside from last week when he finished T4, of course, at the Scottish Genesis Open. Let's hear from Rory right now, Scotty. He has had Royal Portrush circled on his calendar for a very long time.
Yeah, I think the 2 weeks off after the Travelers, just to reset, to get over here, bit of a change of scenery, has been really nice. And yeah, like this is, when I was looking at the calendar for 2025, this was the tournament that was probably, circled even more so than the Masters for different reasons. So it's lovely to be coming in here already with the major and everything else that's happened this year. So I'm excited with where my game is. I felt like I showed some really good signs last week, and feel like I'm in a good spot, and had a, not that last week was a pure preparation week, but it definitely I feel like it put me in a good spot heading into here.
Well, like, I'm going to ask you, like, he needed the Masters more than people need oxygen, and he got it, and he got the career slam. I'll never believe that this was bigger for him, except for being from Northern Ireland, and that he's already done it. So I think that, when he said change of scenery, it's almost like saying, I got to get out of America and go play back home. That's what that meant to me. But I don't believe for 1 minute that the one he wanted the most in his life was the Masters. That's all there is to it.
Yes, that was the one. He's been searching for that forever. He has been searching to complete that. Look, I do believe that this would be a massive thing for him. We talked when Rory won the Masters about what more does this guy want or have to do in his career. He doesn't have to do anything else, but he would tell you now that he's got that whole career Grand Slam thing out of the way, winning a major in Northern Ireland at Royal Portrush would absolutely be something that he is, like he said, he's had it circled for a very long time, especially since he played poorly there when they were there in 19 and he missed the cut. So he's going to be looking for it this week. But who won the last time we were at Royal Portrush in 2019? Of course, that was the Irish Bear, Shane Lowry. He was at the podium yesterday. And of course, the first question was about how he partied after he won that Open Championship.
Interesting first question, isn't it? Here to talk about golf, and all anyone wants to talk about is drinking. But I celebrated pretty well, and I was. Golf's a funny game, like where you lose a lot more than you win, and I've always been a firm believer that when you win, you need to try and celebrate those victories. So I did that night.
No one will ever compete with Stuart Sink, and what he did. Was he drank for a year straight. He was like these guys that win the Stanley Cup. They show up naked at places and jump into the ocean, things of this nature, strip clubs, you name it. Your boy, Stewie Sink, partied with a claret jug like no other, and was also not very willing to give the claret jug back.
No, he was not. Speaking of Lowry, one more thing as he looks to, of course, win again at Royal Portrush. He changed his schedule up a little bit here. He got out to a very hot start this year, played very well the first 5 months of the season, but he hit the skids a little bit, especially a really bad performance at the U.S. Open last month at Oakmont. So what did Shane do? Took some time off. He has not played in a while. Didn't even play last week in Scotland, but he says he feels all the better for it.
It's been an amazing couple of weeks. I haven't been home to Ireland since Christmas as well, so I've been home for the last 3 weeks. So we've had, I've had a nice time, been back home, and I kind of feel like a little bit rejuvenated and ready to go again. And I've had a busy season, and it's about to be another busy kind of next sort of 3 or 4 months as well. So I feel like I'm ready to go again.
I'd love to see it at Portrush, right on the ocean. It's an incredible golf course, an incredible setup, an amazing, dangerous links course. And then it's not going to get any better than Bethpage and the Ryder Cup in the fall. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Shane Lowry will play with Colin Morikawa and Scotty Scheffler in the first 2 rounds of these featured groups. Xander, J.J. Spawn, and John Rahm, Bobby Mack, Bryson, and Justin Rose, Jordan Spieth, Oberg, and Hovland, and Rory, Justin Thomas, and Tommy Fleetwood will be the late featured threesome at about just after 10 o'clock East in the a.m. on Thursday. So those are your featured groups for the opening 2 rounds this week. Let's go.
I am hereby putting a bocce jinx on Scheffler. Did you hear this guy say that he only gets excited about winning for 2 minutes, and that's it?
We're going to play it tomorrow. I got it for you tomorrow.
His run in Salt Lake is over, but obviously the intimidation of a guy that's been around that long in Gundy and in this guy if you look at their cases, they're very similar. It's been going on forever, right? And it's time for a change, I think, in Stillwater and in Salt Lake. I got to be honest with you. And believe me, if they lose again, they're going to get rid of him.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
One that really sticks out to me the most, George, and he's having a fantastic season, is James Wood of the Washington Nationals. I mean, yes, Cal Raleigh's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. He's like a candidate for MVP of the American League. But every time I look up, George, James Wood is either getting 5 hits or being walked 4 times in a game. What a season for this guy.
And he's so young. What, he 22? So what a future this kid has ahead of him.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
You have a head coach in Jim Harbaugh that's proven he will cheat to win. He will win at the biggest stage and doesn't give a damn who cares or finds out, and he'll just move on. That's what I love about a coach. That's the type of coach that I want. Win at all costs. Now, also, at all costs means, like, how are we building this team? Because I actually thought Harbaugh would come in and say, okay, let me just see what the players on the roster is. We'll weed them out after a year, but there's a lot of talent. He built that foundation last year and still made the playoffs.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Online casino expansion in the U.S. is extremely slow, a lot slower than I think we all would have thought, 5 years ago as sports betting took off. But you're going to start to see, I think, next year, a few more states kind of trickle into this. On top of Maine, you had Illinois kind of talk about it. Governor J.B. Pritzker pitched it as an idea to help cut down the budget deficit. Of course, we've got a weird tax fallout there.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, so everybody loves leftovers.
Everybody does love leftovers. One more golf thing for you. I was very sad to see this yesterday. I know you were as well. Joel Damon and his longtime caddy, Gino Bonelli, who, of course, rose to fame with their appearances in Full Swing over those first couple seasons. They have parted ways, as Gino will no longer be caddying for Joel. Yeah, and look, this has actually happened a lot with a few guys this year in golf. Longtime caddies parting ways. And, I guess eventually, Scotty, you got to, if it's not going well, you got to change something, right? It's like teams. Like, what do? They change the manager, or they change this. You got to try something.
Drano. You always have to keep Drano as your caddy on the bag.
On the bags. The Chiefs agree to a long-term deal with their, of course, all-pro guard Trey Smith, who they franchise tag. Well, now they give him 4 years, $94 million, $70 million guaranteed. He's the highest-paid guard in football. Sauce Gardner also, I don't even think I got to mention that all the way at the top of the show. Sauce Gardner got a similar deal to Garrett Wilson. 4 years, $120 million, highest-paid cornerback in the NFL is Sauce Gardner now.
Splurging 2 days in a row, and you said it yesterday. Sauce is next, and I said as long as they keep Sauce happy.
Yeah. The Buccaneers released their throwbacks for this year. Of course, the Bucs. 50th anniversary coming up this year. Look at that. White creamsicles with the creamsicle numbers on there. That's outstanding. Nice job.
And they
by
all
the
love
Bucs.
Baker. He's a badass, the gunslinger.
Baker, they love him. Mario Lemieux and his group are reportedly very interested, and it's picking up steam in them buying back the Penguins. You mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Apparently, this is getting closer for them getting it back from Fenway Sports Group.
It's only worth about, somewhere between 1.5 and 1.7 billion. And the last time he bought them, they were going bankrupt, and then they won a bunch of Stanley Cups. Fenway Sports Group, if they ever want it out now, they've been losing fans, losing money, losing games. They have no foreseeable success in the future at all right now. I mean, they're a dead-to-rights team. It might be the perfect time for them to get out. They own the Red Sox and Liverpool. Why would they want that stinky team in Pittsburgh? Which is a nice way of me saying, please let Lemieux buy the team with Burkle, please, and Morehouse. Please.
Big UFC card this Saturday night, 318. It's actually the last one, allegedly, for
It's a good
Dustin
one.
Poirier, who's fighting Max Holloway on Saturday night. He did do that interview where he said he was sad he never became undisputed champ before his last fight, but it is what it is.
Great career.
And I believe that. And you believe he's actually not going to fight again after this Saturday night? Because these guys always fight again. They always
Who
fight
knows?
again.
But who knows?
Yeah.
But I think he had a great career. I like him and Doug Rose are my two favorites.
There you go. U.S. men's soccer will face Ecuador and Australia in October. Some more tune-ups before the World Cup next summer here in the States. How about this news today? Indiana is reinstating Hoosier the Bison. After a 60-year hiatus, will debut at the football home opener.
Now, listen.
Hoosier the Bison, Scotty.
Now, listen, I was there for 5 years, and I have no idea who that is. I have never heard of Hoosier the Bison. I mean, I know I was drunk there for 5 years, but you'd think I'd know about some old school mascot. This was a mascot in the 60s. They went to the Rose Bowl in 67. They've sucked ever since until Signetti got there. Now they're bringing back some stupid bison I've never heard of. Can we just try to figure out what a Hoosier is before we start rooting for bison?
And also Jordan Addison's trial in California for the misdemeanor DUI charges was scheduled to begin today. He was in court today. He's due back Thursday morning for a pretrial hearing. So that's I guess in the he's having a bad day department. Jordan Addison starting all his court proceedings.
He might miss the early first round of the Open, it sounds like to me. Ferrall finish Tom Brady and Sofia Vergara. How about this? They say they're just friends. You know what that means. Your boy Tom is getting involved with Sophia. And she just, I think, hit 53 and still looks fantastic. Way to go, Tom. Dig in, buddy. LA on pace to see the lowest homicide rate in 60 years as killings plummet. What a lovely thought. Front Office Sports today is next on GTD, In-Game Live, Sports Rage, catch Carver and Lisi. We'll see you tomorrow at 3. Get my app, Ferrall. It's badass. See ya. Go see ya.
That there's a possibility that we could be looking at DeBoer wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. Fourth easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
You're going to have the suck uniforms the entire season, but 3 games will give you with the best uniform. Those are the issues I have. The powder blue's out for the Chargers. That should be every game. The Miami Dolphins old uniforms that they throw it back to, that should be your uniform, not the trash you wear now. The Patriots, you ever see them throw back with a little football player in the helmet? It is beautiful, but let's keep the trash uniform.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Things you have to look at is what the team has the following day, especially when it comes to bullpen usage. A lot of the things I like to attack is you see these extra inning games, these games get drawn out, these bullpens get worn, or if someone gets shelled the first 3 innings and they got to go to the pen, early, that's a good spot to kind of hop in the middle of the next game. You got a tired bullpen, right? You try and take advantage there, maybe with an over, maybe with the money line. You're getting plus money on a favorite at that point.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
His run in Salt Lake is over, but obviously the intimidation of a guy that's been around that long in Gundy and in this guy, if you look at their cases, they're very similar. It's been going on forever, right? And it's time for a change, I think, in Stillwater and in Salt Lake. I got to be honest with you. And believe me, if they lose again, they're going to get rid of him.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.